I'd like to know who would like to speak next. Anybody want to name? Okay. Tori, try this.
What were you calling me for? I wanted you to put my camera in your face. Things never change.
I'm Tori. I went to MT the entire time, I think, except for a 9-month span when Mom and I left for the quiet hills of Connecticut. We didn't last long. We came back real quick. You know, I always kind of felt gypped because even though I was there the entire time, I was not really aware of what was going on, and everybody else was, and everybody else, you know, if I had been 17 or 16 or 18 and been in that environment, I just think about what a time I would have had, and then I wouldn't have maybe had to turn to drugs. And I was just thinking about this. I haven't discussed this with my therapist yet, but I think a part of why I did turn to drugs was because I was filling an empty gap. After having many birthday parties with close to 200 people, everybody loving you, and then all of a sudden it stops, and then you go to public school, and it's an entire different system where nobody likes you, you know. You look for an escape. And you know, to a child, MT seemed like the perfect utopia. And that's something that I was looking for a long time. And I mean, it didn't just manifest in drugs, it manifested in obsessions over men, you know, anything. And I mean, it doesn't help that I have a chemical imbalance, but most of my drug addiction was because of poor self-esteem, and you know, coming from a place like this, I don't know what went wrong. You know, and all I can say is that today I'm a member of Narcotics Anonymous, and I found a new family, and they're worldwide, and they accept me for who I am, and it's just as good as MT, and it's 90s version.
Hang on to it.
Yeah, you're here.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I was here a lot. I don't remember all the years. I was here in the beginning, but I wasn't here in the end. And I skipped a little part. I guess the way alternative education touched my life was looking for it elsewhere, and it's not out there. So you just make the best of your everyday situation. I've learned a lot from Tori about one day at a time. So what's your family career life like today? I hardly ever discuss my career. And Tori is my family, still. And future dreams, well, when you learn to live one day at a time, you don't plan that far in the future. And the message for the group, Patty, really there is good in everybody. All you have to do is keep digging until you find that little bit of good. And then you cultivate it. You cultivate it. I try and find the positive or the good in people and give positive reinforcement because I know that works. And the only thing I do about my job is I also know that a negative response will get just as much attention, so I do that with my boss. So I bet she pays attention to me. Well, it works, but it's not that healthy. Anyway, I'm glad I'm back here, and Ted, we're going to
I see it rounded around 54.
Didn't have mommy less.
I'll shorten this string up in a hurry. My name is Ted, and I was involved with Maslow-Toffler from 1977 through 84. Unfortunately, I didn't graduate. I didn't have the marks. Why am I here tonight? I'm here because of John and Milt, then Laura, and a whole bunch of other people who were then committed to something that no one else in Brentwood was committed to. Not the school, not the administration, and not the great unwashed out there who didn't understand the concept. As for myself, when I first heard of Maslow-Toffler, I didn't feel that this was the place to go. I didn't believe that you turned the prison over to the inmates. I really believed that at the time. When I heard words like facilitators, no desks, beanbag chairs, on the floor, I said, this is great. I could go there for a country club, but I couldn't go there to learn. Then, after having spoken to my wife and having one of my older daughters go, I decided to look in on it myself. And I think that's where Maslow-Toffler, alternative education, touched me. I learned at 52 years old, 50, 52, that there were ways to achieve goals and that there was no set way to do it. If I wanted to go to California, I didn't necessarily have to go by plane. I could go by bus, I could go by train. And that's what Maslow was teaching young people, that you could achieve goals. What's my family like? Well, I have 3 children. They're all in pretty good shape. I'm very proud of them all. My career is over. I'm a retiree, thank God. And life is like for me today, a little painful, but other than that, it's great. I'm happy to be here. My future dreams, to live another 30 years. And that's about it. To see my grandchildren grow, to see that, to hope that they would have the same opportunities as the people who went to Maslow had. That they could grow every day. And the message for the group is rather simple. I think perhaps that you have to follow your dreams. You know, you have to try everything. If you've got a goal, go for it. Don't fail not to try, because not to try is to fail. And you can only achieve success by trying. And if you fail then, you will have at least tried. And if you got that all figured out, I'm passing this one on.
I was there from the, I'm Alice. I was there from the beginning to the end. I think the greatest thing this did for me, this class, John, was set me free again. I didn't know what Maslow did for me until I left. But I've been living with it in my heart. I couldn't speak of it. Grace and I have been together a lot, and it was like we never spoke until the last few weeks when you started the class. And it just set me free. It's just a wonderful feeling to be able to talk about it. We can talk about it. We can share in front of people. They ask what we're talking about. We can tell them now. And that I like. My life, I've got 5 grandchildren. Just wished he could be here, but so did Brian. But they're here with me.
Listen, you guys were sitting here thinking, I don't have a message for the group. I don't want to say anything. You don't have to have a message for the group. You don't have to pay any attention to that little mistake. You know?
Well, I was here at the beginning. I wasn't here at the end. I think I learned much from many of the students, and I hope I gave something back. I think one of the things I've learned that experience is an important thing in life for growth. You can either grow or empathy, you go backwards. And since I've left here, I've experienced much. I gave up everything, and just for 5 years kind of playboyed it, and then I went broke. And I came back up north here, and I started later teaching at Martin Luther King High School, right in back of Lincoln Center, an experience of a lifetime because I'm a minority. You will not know what it's like until you live where you are in the minority, and you see a complete different experience and new growth in life, tremendous understanding. I went to Russia right after the revolution, which was an experience of a lifetime. Went to the bank and it was closed. We're closed, we don't have any money. What am I going to do? Talked to people who were there in the revolution, watched them at the tomb, ranting and raving. It was quite an experience. Everyone says, you shouldn't go now, it's not safe. Well, I'm back here. My other desires were to meet some great people, and I had an opportunity. To me, one of the greatest of a lifetime was to meet Tennessee Williams, the American playwright. I was with him the last time before, last 2 nights he was alive. And I had an opportunity to talk to him about his works, why he was so crazy in his actions toward the public. He said because he was such an insecure person and felt that he contributed nothing. And his rages were he couldn't stand anyone to criticize him. This is a story maybe to share with you. He said, but I've gotten over that. He said, I think I finally found a part of life where I do accept that I have given something to this country. And he said, but I want to tell you a story. He said, the other day I was painting this young boy. He said, I always pick nice looking young ones, you know. And he said, but I do them in abstract, so they don't look nice to them. So he did this person, and he did it in complete abstract. And he said the young man came up and he saw it and he smashed it to pieces. And he said he ranted and raved about it. And he said, I just looked at him and thought of myself and said, understandable, there's no problem. As he's telling me this, a gentleman comes to the table. And he says, I'm sorry, Tennessee, for what I did. This was the boy who was telling me about. He said, no problem, I paste it all back together. It's in the gallery. And Maya Angelou, of course, was the first woman to ever speak at graduation. I spent quite a bit of time with her. Fabulous woman. Being at Martin Luther King High School, I probably met all of the great black leaders, which I would have never had an opportunity to do. And I think the other thing to share with you, I always said I believed every person was born with the ability to learn anything he wanted to. And 51 years old, I decided I would try out to see if that's true. I had a degree probably, in social studies, biological sciences. I said, I will go back and take math to prove it can be done. Complete opposite field. And I took every course, and I can teach it now, and everyone was an A given course. So you can do anything you want. I went back at 52. So I still believe in that, and I'm going to continue. I hope to grow, to have new experiences, and my life, I believe, started with MT, realizing that experiences gave meaning and growth in life. I had a pleasure while I was here.
Whoops.
You got it, Miss?